My name is Hannah Miller, and at 32 years old, I thought I understood exactly what my life was built on: stability, love, routine, and the quiet comfort of a decade spent beside the same man. My husband Daniel is 35, calm by nature, and rarely the type to act recklessly. We live in a small, peaceful suburb outside Brighton, a place where neighbors smile politely and nothing dramatic ever really happens. At least that's what I believed. Until the night that changed everything. Daniel and I had been together for nearly 11 years, and our daughter Lily, who was 8, was the brightest part of our home. She brought color into every room, crayons scattered across the floor, tiny socks in odd corners, drawings taped proudly onto the fridge. To anyone looking in, we were just another ordinary British family, living quietly and happily. But happiness can be fragile. Sometimes it breaks in silence. It started on a Friday evening. I remember because I wasn't feeling well, a dull headache, a slight fever, the kind of sickness where you don't want company, just a warm blanket and a quiet room. Daniel came into the bedroom earlier that evening. "Love," he said while adjusting the collar of his shirt, "I'm heading out. Ben's birthday. You know how he is. I might be back a bit late." I managed a small smile. "All right. Drive safely. And don't stay out too long." He kissed my forehead and left with a cheerful wave. I didn't think twice about it. We trusted each other, or at least I trusted him with my whole heart. What I didn't know was that someone from Daniel's past would be at that party. Someone he hadn't seen in years. Someone he didn't bother to mention to me. His ex. The next morning, everything felt strange. The house was quiet, unusually so. Daniel was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea he hadn't touched. His shoulders were tense, and he looked as if he hadn't slept at all. "Morning," I said softly, rubbing my eyes. "What's wrong?" He didn't answer at first. He just stared at his hands, his wedding ring glinting under the soft light. "Hannah," he finally whispered, I need to tell you something." Something heavy settled in my chest. "What is it?" His voice shook. "I made a mistake last night." Cold, that's how I felt. As if the air around me froze. "What kind of mistake?" I asked. He closed his eyes. "Clara was at the party." I blinked. The name meant nothing at first, then suddenly everything. His ex-girlfriend, the one he dated before me. "I kissed her," he said. "I was drunk." She leaned in. I didn't stop her. "It was stupid, Hannah. I'm so sorry." The world blurred for a moment. My chest tightened, my stomach twisted. "You kissed her?" My voice cracked. "Daniel, are you serious?" "It wasn't planned," he said quickly. "It just happened." "It's not something that just happens." I snapped out. My voice grew louder. Emotions flooding out like a broken dam. Anger, disbelief, hurt, betrayal. I cried. I shouted. I told him to leave. I couldn't bear the sight of him. I opened the front door and said the words I never imagined I'd say. "Get out." The house was mine. I bought it when I was 25, long before marriage, so I had every right to tell him to go. Lily wasn't home. She was at my sister's for the weekend. Thank God. She didn't witness any of it. Daniel left without arguing. He looked shattered, but he still walked out. Minutes later, the messages began. "Hannah, please." "I'm sorry, it meant nothing. I love you." "Please don't do this." I didn't reply. Later that afternoon, his mother called. "Hannah, love," she said in her soft northern accent, "men make mistakes. My husband had an affair once, but I stayed. You can't throw away a marriage because of one stupid kiss." "I can," I said flatly. "And I will." "Think of Lily," she insisted. "She needs her father." "Lily will always have her father," I said. "But I'm not sharing a bed with someone who kissed another woman." People told me I was being too harsh. Too emotional, too dramatic. But betrayal is betrayal. There is no acceptable size. The house felt empty that night. Quiet, too quiet. My heart hurt in a way I didn't know was possible. I felt dirty, disappointed, and painfully alone. But under all the hurt, one thing was clearer than anything else. Trust matters more than love. I still loved him, painfully so. But love wasn't enough to wipe away what he'd broken, and that was only the beginning. The day after I asked Daniel to leave, the house felt unbearably still. There were no footsteps in the hallway, no soft humming from the kitchen, no familiar sound of him making breakfast. Only silence, heavy, sharp, and echoing through every room. Lily came home that afternoon, cheerful and unaware. She showed me a drawing she made at my sister's house, but all I could do was smile weakly and hope she didn't notice the redness around my eyes. Daniel, however, didn't give up that same evening. He showed up unexpectedly. The doorbell rang twice, sharp, hesitant. I opened the door just a crack, enough to see him standing outside with a bouquet of lilies. My favorite. Hannah, he said softly. Please, just talk to me. I didn't want to. Every part of me ached just looking at him. But I stepped outside anyway. What do you want? I asked. I'm sorry, he said again, his voice breaking. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking. I swear, it was only a kiss. One stupid, careless moment. I shook my head. Stop calling it a mistake. Mistake is leaving your keys at work. Mistake is burning dinner. You kissed another woman. You chose that, Daniel. He swallowed hard. I know. And I regret it more than anything. I stood there in silence for a moment, the wind cold against my skin. You could have pushed her away, I finally said. You didn't? He looked down, unable to speak. I don't want to do this anymore, I whispered. I don't want a marriage built on something I can't trust. His eyes filled with tears. I don't want to lose my family. You already did, I said. You lost us the moment you kissed her. His shoulders slumped, and he placed the flowers quietly on the doorstep before walking away like a man with no strength left. That night, sleep avoided me completely. I lay awake thinking about everything we'd built, our wedding day, our little flat in Manchester before moving to Brighton, the night Lily was born, and the way Daniel held her as if she were made of glass. He had been a good man, attentive and gentle, especially during the difficult weeks after giving birth. He cooked for me, bathed Lily, held me when I cried for no reason. But how could the same man do something so careless? So thoughtless? The next few days passed slowly. Daniel called every morning, every night. He sent long messages, some apologetic, some pleading. I miss you. I miss Lily. I'm not the same without you. Please, Hannah. Just give me a chance to make things right. I'll do anything. I didn't respond. I needed space, needed to breathe without feeling like someone had tied a rope around my chest. One evening, as I was reading a bedtime story to Lily, my phone buzzed with another message. I ignored it at first, but later, after she fell asleep, I picked it up. It was a message longer than all the others. I don't sleep anymore. I barely eat. All I do is think about you, about us. I know I hurt you. I know I broke something in you that I had no right to break. But please believe me, Hannah. I never stopped loving you. I'm begging you. Don't give up on us. My hands trembled as I held the phone. My heart ached in a way that was almost unbearable. I loved him. Even after everything, I still loved him. And maybe that hurt the most. Later that night, I stood by the window in Lily's room, watching her sleep. She looked so peaceful, her little chest rising and falling gently, her fingers curled around her favorite stuffed rabbit. What kind of mother did I want to be? What example did I want to set? That question repeated in my head again and again. Did I want her to see a woman who accepted betrayal, who swallowed pain because it was easier than being alone? Or a woman who knew her worth, who walked away from anything that fractured her spirit? The next day, Daniel showed up at Lily's school. He waited outside until she came running toward him with a bright smile. She hugged him tightly, her laughter echoing across the pavement. He brought her a little notebook, the one she had been asking for, and she clutched it like a treasure. Watching them together stirred something inside me I didn't expect. Sadness. Not anger. Not resentment. Just sadness. He was a good father. There was no denying that, but being a good father didn't erase what he'd done as a husband. When he walked Lily back to me, he tried again. "I'm not giving up," he said quietly. "I'll wait as long as it takes. I'll show you that I can be better." "It's too late, Daniel," I replied. My heart, it's closed. He nodded slowly, looking at the ground, defeated. He didn't argue this time. He just walked away. That night, Lily asked the question I had been dreading. "Mom, why doesn't Daddy live with us anymore?" My throat tightened. "Sometimes grown-ups make big mistakes," I said gently. "And sometimes love alone isn't enough to fix everything." "Do you still love him?" She asked out. I hesitated, then whispered, "Love is complicated. But we both love you. That will never change." She hugged me tightly, and I held her until her breathing slowed. Days passed. Then weeks. And slowly, painfully, life settled into a new rhythm. Quieter, sadder, but stable. I wasn't happy. But I was calm. I thought this was how life would stay. I had no idea how much more would change. Nearly a year passed after the night everything fell apart. The seasons changed. Winter melted into spring, then summer drifted toward autumn, and slowly, so slowly, my life settled into a rhythm I didn't expect. It wasn't joyful, not always, but it was peaceful. Lily and I built our own little world in the quiet corners of our Brighton home. We cooked simple dinners, went for evening walks, painted the living room yellow one weekend just because she said yellow felt happy. Daniel came every weekend to see her. He never missed a visit, not once. Rain, shine, or exhaustion from work, he showed up. Always on time, always steady, always gentle. He brought Lily books instead of toys. He taught her how to ride her bike. He attended every school event. He asked me before buying her anything expensive. And every time he came to the door, he looked at me with the same soft, aching expression, the kind that silently asked for forgiveness without demanding it. But he never tried to force his way back into my life. Not anymore. He kept a respectful distance, and that changed everything. One sunny Saturday morning in late May, he arrived earlier than usual. Lily was still asleep, curled up under her unicorn blanket. Daniel was in the garden, pulling weeds and clearing fallen leaves without even asking permission. "Daniel," I said from the doorway, surprised. "You don't have to do that." He wiped sweat from his forehead. "I know. I just wanted to help." For a moment, I watched him in silence. He looked different, older, maybe, quieter. His body seemed tired, but his eyes looked clearer than they had in years. After he finished, he asked softly, "Can we talk for a moment?" Something in me said yes. Maybe because my walls had finally softened. Maybe because a year of watching him grow had shifted something in my heart. Maybe because forgiveness sometimes knocks gently instead of forcing the door open. We sat on the garden bench, the sunlight warm on our faces, Lily's small shoes lying in the grass where she had left them the night before. "I miss our family, Hannah," he began. "Not just Lily, you, us, all of it." I didn't speak. I wanted him to continue. "I know one kiss doesn't sound like much to some people," he said, "but I understand why it broke you. It broke me too. I've spent the last year trying to become someone worthy of your trust again. Not just saying sorry, but changing. His voice trembled. I've stopped drinking at parties. I've been going to therapy. I've learned how easily a moment can destroy everything you love. And I never want to be that man again. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw the sincerity, the regret, the growth, the willingness to be better, not for show, but for real. I swallowed, feeling a sting behind my eyes. I still remember the pain, I whispered. That night, the way everything shattered so quickly. I know, he said quietly, and I don't expect you to forget it. There was a pause, filled with birdsong and the faint laughter of children playing down the street. But I also see who you are now. I continued. You changed, Daniel, truly changed. You've shown up for Lily, you've respected my space, and you've carried the consequences without blaming anyone but yourself. He looked shocked by my words, almost afraid to hope. Hannah, he whispered, I forgive you. His breath caught. His eyes widened, shining with tears he didn't try to hide. Are you saying? I want to try again, I said softly. Not because I'm weak. Not because I'm afraid of being alone. But because I believe in second chances and because I see a man worth loving again. He covered his face with his hands, crying in a way I had never seen. Broken, relieved, overjoyed. When he finally looked up, he reached for my hands but hesitated. Can I? Yes, I said, and he took them gently, holding them as if they were fragile Dot at that exact moment. Lily burst out the back door with messy hair and sleepy eyes. Mummy, Daddy. She squealed. Why are you holding hands? Daniel laughed through his tears. Well, sweetheart, we're just talking. Are you happy? She asked, eyes wide. I kissed her forehead. Yes, love, we're happy. Her face lit up like sunrise. She ran around the garden shouting, Mummy and Daddy are best friends again. Daniel pulled me into a soft hug, careful, slow, full of emotion. Not the hug of a man who expected forgiveness, but one who finally understood its weight. We weren't perfect. Not even close, but we were real. A family built again, not on blind trust, but on honesty, healing, and the choice to fight for something worth saving. As the three of us stood in the sunlight, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. And that was the moment I knew.